We now look at the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia and the introduction of the Brezhnev Doctrine. On the 20th of August 1968, thousands of Soviet troops moved into Czechoslovakia. They were backed up by other Warsaw Pact nations, Bulgaria, East Germany, Hungary and Poland. The Czech people protested against the Soviet tanks and assembled in Wenceslas Square in the middle of Prague, but the Czech army did not move against the Soviet forces moving into Czechoslovakia. Alexander Dubček, whose Prague Spring reforms had caused so much concern to the Soviet Union, was arrested and taken to Moscow. He was replaced as leader of Czechoslovakia by a hardline communist. With this, Leonid Brezhnev, the leader of the Soviet Union, decided to implement the Brezhnev Doctrine. The doctrine said that the Soviet Union had the right to invade any country within the Warsaw Pact whose actions appeared to threaten the security of the whole bloc. As well as this, all countries within the bloc would be a one-party communist system, and all countries must remain part of the Warsaw Pact. The Soviet Union would have the right to invade anyone who tried to move away from the communist system. When thinking about the consequences of the Soviet invasion, we need to think about three main strands. In Czechoslovakia itself, there was protests and demonstrations against the Soviet invasion. A young student, Jan Palach, set himself on fire and killed himself as a protest against the Soviet invasion. In the West, there was protests against the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia. In Britain and the USA, many people opposed this invasion. However, America was in the middle of the Vietnam War and so was preoccupied with this, and there was an unspoken deal between the President of America, Lyndon Johnson, and Brezhnev that neither one would intervene in the opposing one's conflict that they were dealing with. America publicly condemned the invasion, but they offered no military support to Czechoslovakia. Other communist groups in Western Europe felt that they could no longer trust the Soviet Union and so moved themselves away from the Soviet Union and the Soviet Communist Party. As well as this, other communist countries in Eastern Europe distanced themselves from the Soviet Union and started to move maybe towards the idea of a closer relationship with China. Specifically, Yugoslavia and Romania both condemned the invasion and distanced themselves from the Soviet Union.